Baseball fans, it is good to be with you once again. Tim Lowry from Backfields Media. We're continuing our prospects review. And I've got to tell you, eMLB is more than just the major league, the Twitch broadcast now. Backfields Media and all those great guys providing content and thought around this great game of ours. Certainly want to thank all the participation and all of the wonderful comments that have been going on. We're going to jump right into, we're in the Hot 100 now, the fine prospects that are in this league, players that you will more than likely see at the major league level soon, if not sooner. I'm going to disappear for a little bit so we can give the screen full attention. Poof. All right. Let's take a look at our top 100 prospects, starting with number 100. At number 100, Dodgers left-handed first baseman, 20-year-old Mike Reeder. Love the nickname. He'd make the 500 list just for that alone. Don't fear the Reeder. First round pick in 2028. Mike has plus power potential, above average defensive value. He's been ranked as high as number 17 in OSA. Has kind of fallen out because, I don't know, OSA, if you don't make it to the majors within the first year or two, they're like, forget you. But Reeder has quality and talent. Extremely good contact. He, for his age and where he's at, he did work on the quality of contact in the dev lab this past off season. Sadly, it wasn't very successful. However, his BABIP grades out to be a plus, and is only rivaled by the power, which is considered to be, you see 80 out of 100 there. He is going to be extremely powerful hitter. No speed of which to speak of. Good defensive talent here, about the range more than anything else. I don't think he grades out to really play anywhere else on the field. So if he's not at first, he's going to be a DH, and I think he plays well enough at first to make it happen. He's going to strike out a lot. He's kind of a what if for me. If he develops, and I feel like he should, the Dodgers have good training facilities. I feel like he is going to be a star first baseman. That said, let's see how it develops. I'm really looking at the eye more so than anything else. With those power numbers, he will definitely get a look. Mike Reeder is the 100th prospect in the eMLB. Mike Parkin comes in at 99, Baltimore Orioles. 19-year-old right-handed starting pitcher. Like his fastball, it's a hard ball that he throws. Decent slider, and the curve is also a good follow-up pitch with that. Keeps the ball down. It's probably the best feature of the core tools as a pitcher. Ground baller, not a lot of home runs. I feel like the stuff is going to develop. The control seems a little behind now for the age, but he's got the mechanics that lead to that. I think right now what the scouts see is that he takes a little bit off of his pitches to make sure he hits the strike zone. Really needs to start trusting himself, use that velocity more. As you can see, he touches 98. Should be a low to mid-level rotation guy. Sharp, kind of thinks on his feet. I really like this profile, and I think that as he gets more and more work in the minor league system and avails himself of the training he will get, I think he is going to be a mainstay in the Baltimore rotation in the years to come. Mike Parkin is 99. Coming in at number 98, Juan Galvis, Montreal International Complex. He's a right-handed 17-year-old left fielder. Another teenager with tremendous promise, weren't we all? Plus power, plus contact. He's a hitting machine. Exceptional bat speed and control, and especially for his age. You don't see 17-year-olds grading out in the 20% range already. They're usually much more raw than this. Got a good head on his shoulders, adjusts well. The adaptability I really like, because that bodes well for him when pitchers start figuring him out. He will bounce right back, I feel like. Doesn't have any speed, has a decent arm, and I think that's only going to get better. He's a corner outfielder. He's playing primarily a left. I'd be curious to see what he could do in right. However, I think the speed might force him to stay over in left field. Like anyone at this level, at this age, very raw, he is a coin flip. Will more than likely be either much better or much worse than this. I'm going to lean on the side of him doing better. I feel like Galvis could be a star in Montreal in the years to come. He is my number 98th prospect. Number 97, Joel Lauck for the Chicago Cubs. Second baseman, left-handed. He's 23 years old. I like the eye, already at a major league quality level there. Headed towards plus. Good raw power. And that after the eye is what has been developed the most. And with the focus on eye and power in the modern game, I think he is going to come up sooner rather than later. First round pick overall in 2030. I think the Cubs will do a very good job in developing him. As far as defense, looks like he's going to track out as a second baseman because the arm, little less than average there, and he's already playing at a fairly decent level. Could play shortstop in an emergency, I think. The left field, maybe is kind of a stopgap thing. He does have the speed to play in the outfield. Base running is key for him too. Impressed with a lot of his, not just potential, but what he has shown already in terms of being able to run the bases and be effective. Joel Lauck, number 97. I think he's a future second baseman in the Cubs' future. Number 96, another second baseman and a CCP. J.C. Swishman's Benjamin Sisko. The emissary is 24 years old, right-handed second baseman. Spent some time in Arizona already this year. Currently is in Reno in AAA, not on vacation. Was the first round pick in 2028. I remember picking him. Always excited, and I think he is going to be a good player. He's got a quick bat. Scouting report, no OTP, says he's challenged by the off-speed stuff. And that tracks. But I love the eye and the avoid K, so he's not going to get cheated too often. Power is below average, but not obviously so. Going to tend to be more of a singles hitter predominantly, but will surprise you with the occasional double, triple. Has good speed, above average speed, and can steal a base. The defense has really improved in the last couple of years. He's gone from being, wow, what's this really going to be? The arm has improved, the range, really good all-around player here. And I see him as a potential leadoff hitter. I think he's a star in the making. Benjamin Sisko is our number 96 prospect in the MLB. Second basemen keep coming, and we go back to the Cubs. This time it's Franklin Font, the second baseman. 23-year-old right-hander, above average contact, and makes contact with authority. With what you see in the core tools, I would have projected him as a line drive hitter, but actually he's more of a ground ball hitter. Places the ball very well, gets on base a lot, has an average eye. There's still room to improve with the bat, and I think that's pretty obvious. I think the power tool is what it's going to be. The eye is pretty much where it is going to be as well. Defensively, really good. He could play at any infield position. He's listed as a second baseman, and that's his strongest. I think his arm is good enough to play at third or at short. I could see him and Lauk, who we just talked about a couple picks ago, becoming the middle of the infield in the future for the Cubs. It's that kind of skill set there. He's a good character guy. I think how well his other tools develop determines really how long he stays in the majors. But he's got a lot of good promise. He was the 2026 draft pick right out of high school. And sky's the limit for him too, I feel like. Franklin Font is the number 95 prospect in the eMLB. Colorado returns to the list at number 94 with Sergio Villar. He tends to rely on that arm more than he should. Doesn't use his positioning as well. Doesn't really set himself up for success in that way. So I'll take his word for it. Third base could potentially be a third baseman, especially with that arm. I think he will play well at shortstop. I'd love to see it tick over into the green and be average to above average there. I think you could get away with him, especially with the hitting tools that he has. I think we're pretty much, you get what you see here. Good contact with some extremely good gap power, above average raw power and eye. He is a professional hitter, and I think in Colorado, he will be successful. Sergio Villar is our number 94 prospect. Circling back around to Arizona again, number 93. This time it is third baseman Maddox Balcom. Has above average power. The contact is getting there. It's kind of a trailing skill compared to all the others, along with the avoid K. But he does have a good batting eye. He is definitely a line drive hitter. Hits what he pulls the ball, so he's mostly hitting it down the third base line. His excellent arm really elevates the other skills defensively to make him an average third baseman. I don't know how much growth is left there. I think he might peak out at that point. But honestly, with the arm, and if he's paired with a good range shortstop, I think he would be more than enough at third base here. The lack of speed really pulls down his range, and as you can see, His stealing ability kind of outstrips his ability to run. So that speaks to his intelligence. He's very adaptable. He was brought up, he's been mostly a DH so far. And I see where there's some potential first base that he's working as well with the new management there in Arizona. Likely he is going to be a third baseman. I see Maddox as being like a second division level starter, good hitting ability. I think that this bat plays anywhere on any kind of level team. Maddox Balcom is the number 93 prospect in the eMLB. The Twins make another appearance on this list at number 92 with Ralph Flores and with a nickname of Flash. The 20-year-old right-handed second baseman is a plus speedster. The scouts rave about his ability. Just flies all over the field, and you can see it helps him complement all of his other skills. Does a really good job with that. He's either going to be a very above average shortstop, very solid shortstop, or he is going to be almost an elite level second baseman. His gap power skills are ahead of his age curve. He's a little more advanced, and that is going to be the predominant skill in his bat. His ability to make hard contact is trailing, but should catch up to be slightly below average. He's not going to hit 20 homers, but I think he will hit 20, 25 doubles. I'm hoping the contact comes around. If he gets on base more, obviously he can bring those steals to bear. So until that contact presents itself, that's going to really jeopardize his ability to make the most of his potential. That said, that speed and defense will get him playing time, even if it's only, as a defensive specialist, kind of a fifth infielder, if you will. Ralph Flores clocks in at number 92 on our list of prospects. The Athletics bring Milt Morgan into the number 91 spot. Left-handed starting pitcher, 19. He was the 7th overall pick in the 2030 draft. Ranked number 81 by OSA currently. The fastball is his best pitch now, but the curveball, scouts feel like it is going to be elite. And the sinker will also probably surpass the fastball, but it is a nice pitch mix for the young man. He already is good at avoiding solid contact. He keeps the ball down, and we feel that that trait is just going to improve. I expect him to adjust slightly, and his ground ball, fly ball tendency is going to drift from neutral to ground ball. I think with some coaching and with what Sacramento will likely do in the farm system to develop him will lead to that. I definitely would like to see better control, but I think that is coming. And the same with the stuff. It's easy to see where his ability to cause weak contact is already so pronounced that you would expect him to be able to strike out more guys. I also kind of expect this velocity to tick up a little bit too. I don't know if I'm getting that over my skis with that or not, but we'll see. Left-handed starting pitchers are at a premium in this league. I think Milt will have every chance to get a spot and keep it in the major league lineup. I see him as kind of a third starter, if I want to figure out his maxed potential. If all three of these pitches do ultimately show up the way we project, possibly even a number 2 starter, but really good prospect here and has been efficient so far. Milt Morgan is at number 91. At number 90, the Cardinals bring in the international complex, Rogelio Puyo, 16-year-old left-handed first baseman, signed 3 months ago, 6'4" at the age of 16. Wow. Power is really developed. For a 16-year-old to already be at 28 and 26 in the power numbers, just kind of mind-blowing. Contact looks like it's going to rate out to be above average as well. Already plenty of fast. He plays an aggressive game. That speed helps him with his range, and he already has above average skills defensively. He looks to be an elite level first baseman, but I would love to see him develop more as the third base and even at shortstop. I mean, can you imagine a shortstop with this hitting profile? Kind of shades of Cal Ripken with speed. And you see how the scout works. You see all this potential, and I'm suddenly got him in the Hall of Fame, and he hasn't even finished high school yet. The thing about him is if he is at 75% of this, he's going to be a star. Interestingly enough, ground ball tends to pull, fly ball tendency tends to spray. That suggests to me that if he's a bit of a guess hitter right now, and if he's a little ahead of it, he gets on top of it and beats it into the ground. I think that's going to change again with some coaching. One of the coaches, scouts, suggests that the old adage about players in the Dominican Republic is true. Many of them would tell you in the 70s and 80s, when asked why Dominican players don't typically draw a lot of walks, he said it was because you couldn't walk off the island. Well, Rogelio can hit, and I think he's hit his way off the island. He is our number 90 prospect in eMLB. Number 89, we're back to Montreal, and this time it is Dan Bartling, 22-year-old right-handed left fielder. Nickname is Mr. Groundhog Day, and I would just love to know what that's about. A speed guy, and it definitely shows with his stolen base and the way that it elevates his defensive game, especially in the outfield. He has above average power skills, already hits doubles with major league proficiency. Otherwise, average at best with the contact, actually slightly less than. The eye being as low as it is also has a little bit of concern. It's pretty clear, and maybe this is where the nickname comes from, that there's no real approach in working a count here with that. Now, he's got enough pop to go with the secondary skills, which are what really draws your attention for him. And I think that is going to help him make a club. Not to mention the fact that, as you see the personality comment, he's a classic overachiever. He's adaptable, he's intelligent, and he works hard. All of that together should make this third-round pick. And now I see why he's nicknamed Mr. Groundhog Day, because he went to Punxsutawney. I'm an idiot. Anyway, Dan Bartling is not, and he is our number 89th prospect in eMLB. At number 88, the Nationals, Jim Spiker, the 22-year-old left-handed center fielder. He is a plus defender with some elite potential. I know that he's looking, you see the left field and you see that elite. I'm really impressed by the center field capabilities where he averages out to a plus guy with that range and that speed. He's going to steal bases. His batting profile, he's going to be average. And of course, in eMLB, that means, in the 240s with a little bit of pop. Good eye, but not great. I kind of worry about whether or not he could slip into a leadoff hitter role. And of course, a lot of that depends on the team, what their philosophy is about stolen bases. But I think to not use this speed would be to really strip him of one of his tools. He's very poised on the field. Also has a good work ethic. I like what I see here in the defense, and the speed will play. And you just have to hope that the bat kind of comes along. I could see him hitting 8th or 9th and slotting in there for several years. Jim Spiker is the number 88 prospect. Number 87, I had to go out here and change my file, change my slide, because I finally had the picture of Anakin Flame Walker, the 21-year-old left-handed shortstop for the Angels. He too is a CCP, Attica Online. He's another plus speed and defense guy, well-rounded in those areas. His bat will play up to above average, with the exception of the power. He's not going to hit a lot of home runs, but I think the bat develops to the point where, with that and the shortstop defense, it's going to be an automatic play here at shortstop. I like the gap power. I like the fact that he's headed towards solid contact. He hits line drives. As you see, the personality's very level-headed in the clubhouse. Think back to a recent episode where we talked about Maddox Gentry, who's a big name prospect in the Angels organization, who too grades out at short. Either one of these guys could potentially move to third and would be fine. I think Gentry probably would be a better solution there. So don't think he is as far along defensively as Anakin is. I expect them to nail down the left side of that Angels infield for some time. Anakin is a number 87 prospect, and I fully expect him to rise up by the end of the year and be higher up on this list. Coming in at number 86, Chris Lavina, Colorado right-hander, starting pitcher. He's age 23. Looks to grade out with some above-average pitches. The fastball will be the best, followed by the slider and sinker. Throws a heavy ball, which, again, like the primary thing you want for a guy in Colorado. Came over from Houston very recently. The core tools rate to average to above average. I think the stuff will probably play up as the pitches improve. Strong leadership qualities, and seems to play well in high leverage situations. You notice the potential is a little depressed here, and there's a little, you're probably wondering why he is this high on the list. Just that he's really improved uh, his K rate. He's excellent defensive pitcher, and I think this is the kind of player who is going to work well in Colorado, where it is all about the home run suppression first, and then the rest of it is going to be left up to the defense to handle. And I also think that these pitches are going to grade out much better than what is showing here. I like his look. I think he's going to be a bit of a surprise. I'm thinking back into the rotation, but I feel like he's going to pitch for a while. Chris Lavinia is the number 86 prospect. Coming in at number 85 from Arizona, 23-year-old right-handed shortstop. Harlan Ledlow was the first overall pick, was the first pick in the draft in 2029, fourth overall for Arizona. Has been as high as number 17 in OSA, and I think that's their current rating. This is a plus power bat, makes very hard contact, will hit a lot of home runs, will have a league average batting average. The eye is about the same. Very good speed, can steal you some bases. Defensively has improved a bit. And I think at shortstop, where he was originally drafted for, might be a bit of a stretch to say he could be an everyday shortstop, but I also think this will tick up and improve to at least average. And I think with the bat, I see no reason why he couldn't play short, especially in Arizona where the infield is fairly crowded with prospects and good players. I think Ledlow is the one who shakes out here and becomes the shortstop. And I think as he has begun to improve more and more, I think you're going to see him cement his hold on that and play for some time. He did take quite a bit of a hit from the switch in OOTP 25, but at the same time, I don't think it was a loss of any kind of skill. I think it was just the way scouts look at the universe. Just a personal opinion. He did work on his two strike approach in the offseason. It did not go well, and he does tend to strike out a lot, but I don't think that's going to really stop him from being a presence. Harlan Ledlow is the number 85 prospect. Joe Riley clocks in at number 84, 18-year-old left-hander, right fielder for the Portland Stags. 6'7". He could become one of the best power hitters in the game, as in like leading the league in home runs kind of hitter. 8th overall pick in last year's draft. 3 true outcomes here. Elite level power, as you see. As far as being an outfielder goes, I think corner outfield, he is plus. Very good skill set. I think his average speed kind of leads to the average range here, but his other defensive tools are plus. Has a really good arm, so I think he could slot into right field very easily. Just an imposing presence, too. His contact development is slightly behind everything else. But I think with that power, he will get a chance. I think he plays up very well. And as he begins to develop, I could see Portland being tempted to bring him up sooner rather than later. We'll see in a couple of years how he has progressed. Joe Riley is our number 84 prospect. in eMLB. You're 17 and your nickname is the Hammer. Luis Samano is our number 83 prospect. He's in the Texas International Complex. Rates out as a middle of the order power guy. The scouts here having a hard time remembering when we've seen numbers this high for someone who is this young. Only been signed for 3 months. Already OSA has him as the number 12 prospect. We're not that high on him. As we said earlier, there's a bit of a deduction we take for the age and for the fact that they're in the international complex to kind of temper expectations. Defensively, he already has a plus arm, is going to rate out as well above average, I think, as a corner outfielder. This will be a right fielder. He's really smart. And as you see from the personality comment, understands the game and embraces his role. This is a ball player. And I feel like with that desire to do well and really all about it, I see him continuing to develop. And while I'm not ready to rank him number 12 just yet, if he turns into 75% of the player that he shows in this profile, he is a multi-year all-star. And I think Texas has to be excited to have Luis Samano in, and he clocks in at number 83. Bard Olson from the Toronto organization was their first draft pick in the 2030 draft. 23-year-old left-handed outfielder, has plus speed and an exceptional stealing ability. Reads pitchers instinctively, according to his OOTP comments. Will end up with above average contact, profiles to have some significant gap power, which I think will lead to a lot of doubles and triples as he matures. I think the power is coming as well. The eye, probably a little bit concerning. There's still some room to grow, but I think he's a little bit of a free swinger here. But it seems like he is more than capable, especially when he does make contact, for that to work out. Defense borders on elite, especially at the corner positions, but I also think he could play a really positive center field. As a matter of fact, that's where I'm kind of pigeonholing him in at. He has the speed and the range to do it. The other tools are above average. I see him as a center fielder for the Jays. And I think he is going to be a solid contributor at the major league level, regardless of where they play him. He's got a nice all-around profile. Bard Olson is number 82. At number 81, the Cardinals have left-handed starting pitcher Jeremy Humphrey. They picked him first overall in the last draft. 5 pitches, all of them look to be above average. Humphrey has his best pitch is considered to be his changeup. And as you can see, he has a decent fastball. I know I've talked a lot about these guys who have great changeups, but nothing to pair them with. Humphrey does not have that problem. I think his core skills track to be above average all the way around. I think he's at the right level of development for his age. So he's not a prodigy by any means, but he is still very good. I see the control being the best part of his game. So he's not going to walk a lot of people. He'll keep the ball down. I have some minor concerns about his ability to adapt. I'm just worried as as hitters kind of adjust to his profile, what he is going to be able to do. That said, I think the Cardinals staff does a really good job with that. They tend to be pitcher whisperers, as I've said before. And with the news that came out in this last sim about Torrey Allenson being out 3 to 4 months, I don't see Humphrey rushing into the majors by any means, but it is nice for them that they are building quite a stable of pitching prospects because pitching is a very tenuous position in the eMLB. I like the fact that he's got good high stamina. I feel like he is going to turn into a rotation anchor, if not the predominant pitcher on their club, then maybe the number 2 in the rotation. I like the way he looks, and I think he's going to be very effective in the days to come. Jeremy Humphrey at 81. Another pitcher at number 80, this one a little further along. As a matter of fact, it's already in the majors. Hunter Brown comes in, was a 6th-round draft pick in 2026. He's taken his time and he's developed, and boom, he's here. The re-rate really helps here. He's got an elite slider, plus curve, above average control, the stuff touching on elite. The comments our scouts made is, you see that the home run rate is below average. It's primarily because he's out here challenging hitters. He is forcing them to hit his pitch, and he gets it up 96, 98, and he is effective. He will get dinged, but he is ultimately effective. He struggled in his first start, had a couple of relief appearances, got rocked pretty heavily. I don't think that's going to last. I think it might be just, first game jitters or what have you. I think Hunter Brown is going to be an exceptional starter, possibly a number 2, number 3 guy in that order. He gives them yet another piece in a very deep and talented team. I don't expect Hunter to be here at the end of season prospect rankings, but right now he's the number 80 in eMLB. Another CCP pops in here at number 79, Van Lee Roth's Don Lee, left-handed 24-year-old first baseman for the Marlins. Was a 2nd-round pick in 2028. He is a fastball hitter. Off-speed breaking stuff gives him challenges, but if you try to throw it past him, he can do stuff with it. Also comes in with an elite defensive profile. The height helps. The arrow and arm being being average to above average. The range is less of a problem. Don't think, although he qualifies as a third baseman or a shortstop, I don't think you're going to see him there much. Maybe in an emergency kind of situation. Not much speed. And as I was looking over this profile and looking over his abilities, it kind of struck me that this feels like a Keith Hernandez type clone. Below average power, but above average contact, driving the ball, superb defense. You think of the Marlins and the left side of that defensive infield, and they have Pug, and they also have Eric Von Cola. I think you can get away with a lesser home run hitter at first base when you're taking care of it at your shortstop and third positions. I think Don Lee is a player of the future who will fit in nicely with that overall lineup, and with his work ethic and the way that his teammates respect him. I think he will help to solidify them in the years to come. Don Lee is the number 79 prospect in eMLB. Danny David with the Dodgers, left-handed 23-year-old right fielder, or corner outfielder, I should say, is improving his pitch recognition. And you can see it growing. It's outstripped almost everything else he does right now. He's hitting the ball with authority. And for someone who has above average power, both to the gap and over the wall, that's impressive. His eye and his avoid K are going to slot in below average, but not dramatically so. Average speed, and that kind of hurts his ability in terms of range in the outfield. But his other outfield tools are plus rated, very sure-handed, can throw the ball well. I think it will come down to what the Dodgers need, whether they need a left fielder or a right fielder more. I tend to see him as a fourth outfielder on a good squad, but I also see him getting a lot of quality plate appearances because of his profile and what he can do. He's not going to lead a team to a championship, but he sure as hell can be a role model and a key player in this. Danny David coming in at 78. Number 77, and one of my favorite players in this entire 200 until you get to about the top 10. New York Yankees, Gregorio Soto, switch hitting 25-year-old. He is their only prospect in the top 200 for the Yankees. But boy, is he a good one. Elite base stealer, plus speed, has an elite already avoid strikeout, above average gap power and contact. The eye is good. Surprised he makes weak contact as much as he does, but I also think that he's the kind of guy who can get away with it because he's just so fast. He's going to leg out something that he just kind of tops to a slow roller to the left side of the infield. Tends to be a little bit of a pull hitter in the air, but I think with the power, 10 to 12 homers a year. Solid intangibles. This is a classic leadoff hitter. A hard worker. I think he's going to do well. You see the defensive ratings, and he's kind of all over the place. Could play anywhere on the infield. I think he's being groomed primarily at third base, and that's what he's called out here. Although second base is probably his best position. Jackson Hedges is there, and I don't think you're going to move Hedges off second base, quite frankly. He's one of the best in the game. Sordo could come up and play third base and be that leadoff hitter and be more than effective. Of course, he could also play at first. Be kind of odd to see a leadoff hitting first baseman with speed. I love this profile. I think he's going to be fun to watch. I see him being an exciting player in the years to come. Gregorio Soto is our number 77. And one last prospect for this episode, Seattle in their international complex, Rogelio Maldonado, 17-year-old right-handed second baseman. If you're keeping track, Seattle has a lot of good middle infielders in their prospect list. And as I've said before, I don't tend to worry too much about that because as players age and mature, they tend to spread out all over the defensive spectrum. So, he could probably end up anywhere, but right now he's looking like a second baseman. Elite contact potential, above average power. The power is trailing a lot of the other skill sets. That's actually more normal for a 17-year-old. We've been looking at a lot of 16 and 17-year-olds who are already in the high 20s with power. Maldonado has a more typical profile at this age. I think the arm precludes him from being anything other than a second baseman at this point, unless that improves. The defensive skill set is there. His speed, kind of average. If he's at a fraction of this projection, he is going to play. If he gets anywhere close, if he's 80 to 90% of this is a kid who could potentially win batting titles. And I don't say that lightly. Maldonado, very interesting to me as a prospect. Curious to see how quickly he gets into the minor leagues and gets that more stable coaching, gets more playing time. We'll see what he develops into. He's a couple years from that. But Rogelio Maldonado is a number 76 prospect. All right, going to let you go for today. Tomorrow we will be back with number 75 to 51. We're edging ever closer to our number one prospect. I think everybody knows who it's going to be, but that top 25 is packed with superstar potential. Hang in there. We're just a few episodes away. Until tomorrow, I am Tim Lowry with Backfields Media, hoping you've enjoyed having some baseball in your day. Talk to you soon.